Good morning, everybody. Before we start our lesson today, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here on time. I know it's important for me that you're here on time, but it lets me know that you think this class is important when you show up on time and you're ready to work, so I really appreciate that. I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing today because I'm going to be introducing to you the Inform and Inspire project. And this is a really exciting project for me for two reasons. First, and probably most importantly, it allows you to take some ownership of the material and curriculum that we cover in this class. You get to choose the person who you think is historically important. You get to choose the person who is also, hopefully, inspirational to us. So it lets me know what you think is important about the period of time from Reconstruction until present day. So I'm very excited about that. The second reason that I'm excited about this project is because it incorporates my other interests. Most of y'all know I also teach speech and debate, so I'm very excited to have an opportunity in our class where each and every one of you is going to have a chance to come up here and teach a mini lesson and use some of your public speaking skills and develop those skills to inform and inspire us. So before we start talking about the project, I want to point out a couple key things to you over here. First of all, the key words. I want you to make sure that you add both of these words to your vocabulary list in your notebook. When we cover them in the unit today, make sure you get a good definition. The first one is philanthropy, and the second one is extemporaneous. The other thing I wanted to point out is if you want to look in the front section of your notebook, where each of you is supposed to put the text list essential knowledge and skills for this class, U.S. history, you'll notice that section 24 talks a lot about the use of technology and projects. And section 25 talks about public presentations and public speaking and presenting information in this class. And this project hits specifically on both of those. So today we're going to cover the Inform and Inspire project, and I'm going to introduce to you the scope and sequence of the project, particularly the research and brainstorming phase, outlines and planning, PowerPoint development, and presentation. And then if we have enough time at the end of class today, we'll also cover the grading rubric, but we can do that tomorrow if we don't get to it today. Because it's really important that each of you know what the specifications for this project is. It's very hard to do a project if you don't know what is expected or what's required. So we're going to make that crystal clear to everybody so that you can make as good a grade as possible on this particular project. Before we cover any more of this information, I really want to just give you a small sample of somebody that I researched the other night that I find both historically important and inspirational. Does anybody in here know who William Henry Gates III is? Raise your hand if you know. I didn't think so. How about if I showed you his mugshot from after his junior year in high school? Got in a little trouble in high school. No? Still no? How about if I asked you this question? Just raise your hand, you don't have to say anything. Do you know who Bill Gates is? That's what I thought. Bill Gates is a very important historical figure from the 20th century. The 20th century is the time from 1900 to 2000. In fact, Time magazine listed him as one of the most 100 influential people of the 20th century. And the reason that he's historically important is because most of you know the company that he's involved with, Microsoft Corporation. In fact, Bill Gates graduated from high school in 1973. And by 1981, when he was like 27 years old, he was already president and chairman of the board of Microsoft Corporation. And of course, Microsoft Corporation is responsible for the Windows platform that most of our computers run on, certainly all the PCs, not the Apples, but most of our computers run on. And it also is the producer of much of the software that we use, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and of course PowerPoint, which is one of the software programs that we're going to use during these presentations. So Time magazine nominated him as one of the 100 most important people of the 20th century. But what's really important is that Time magazine also nominated him as one of 4 people who should also already be included as one of the most important people for the 21st century, which is from 2000 to 2100. And the reason that he's famous is because of the word philanthropy. Does anyone know what philanthropy is? David?
Isn't that when rich people give their money away to poor people?
It sure is. That's a simple definition, but in essence it's correct. It's when somebody who's more well off pulls together their resources and shares it with charitable organizations or people who are less fortunate than they are. And one of the things that's really important about Bill Gates is after he was criticized, he was getting a lot of criticism around 1999-2000 about the amount of wealth that he had amassed. He became the richest man in the world. And people were critical that he was just amassing all this wealth and he wasn't doing anything with it. So Bill Gates decided to do some research on Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller, 2 billionaires from the early 1900s, and see what they did with their fortunes. That's one of the reasons he inspires me, is because he's a lifelong learner. Making money wasn't wasn't all there was to life for him at the end of the day. So he and Melinda Gates formed,